The past 12 months in the lithium industry have seen weak demand and new supply, which in turn has depressed prices from the high levels we'd experienced in the early years of Orocobre's production. This has led to the closure of projects, decreasing production in others, and a number of projects being deferred. You've probably all read how Albemarle and Mineral Resources deferred their Regina project immediately after Albemarle spending $825 million to complete that transaction. That indicates the state of the market from their perspective. We've always expected we'd get these extreme periods of volatility. I mean, being head office here in Queensland and having a board and a management team full of people with resources experience, just like I think many of the investors out there, we've all been in resources companies for a long time. We know this time was always going to come, a period of low pricing. And the question was, are you ready for it? And I think Orocobre got very ready for it. Given the pace of change and the supply and demand growth, they were never going to be perfectly matched. It's a small production market for lithium at the moment, growing rapidly, and it was difficult to think that supply and demand would be perfectly matched, and that's what we're experiencing now. But we continue to believe that the medium to long term remains very robust for our product and for lithium generally. I'd like to talk a little bit about Argentina, because it doesn't get an awful lot of press here, and I want to give you our perspective on Argentina. There'll be a change of government in Argentina from the 10th of December following the presidential elections about a month ago. The President-elect, Alberto Fernandez, has reiterated that he will support all export-driven businesses such as Orocobre and has expressed strong backing for the resources industry. You'd also recall that Orocobre built the Olaroz lithium facility under a government led by who will now become the vice president in this new government, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. We're effectively government agnostic at Orocobre. We'll work with any government, within reason, of course, and they're always within reason in Argentina. The Jujuy governor, which is the province that we operate in, Gerardo Morales, was elected for a second term in July, so we have consistency of provincial government. And it operates very similarly to what you're all familiar with in Australia between federal and provincial government. And we work very cooperatively with the Jujuy government and contribute significantly to its economic development. Just to remind people, there's an entity owned by the Jujuy government that has an interest in directly in the joint venture. Over the last year, the IMF has continued to offer material support to Argentina. We expect the country to encounter a continued period of fiscal and economic challenges. So we're not out of the woods yet by any means. It will be a tough time in Argentina over the next few years. But as a growing exporter with a major capital investment to do over the next 2 or 3 years, we're about as well placed as anybody to work well with this government and get through this period. When I look at the performance over 2019, there'll be an opportunity to talk about the annual report, but I just wanted to pull out a few things. The share price has been disappointing, but if you compare us to a lot of other lithium stocks, we've been somewhat more robust than they have. And our annual report explains in depth the operating and financial performance, but let's look at a few things. At the end of 2019, Orocobre is in a very strong financial position. Strategically well placed, we've got growth projects, and our operating performance is improving. Solay de Jujuy, the operator of the Olaroz lithium facility, increased production to 12,600 tonnes of lithium carbonate last year. It's only a marginal increase from the previous year, but our average operating cash cost was down to $4,300 a tonne. We're in a period where cash cost is king, and Martín will talk about that. The global lithium carbonate prices over that period dropped significantly, from between 12 to 14,000 US a tonne to 9 to 11,000 a tonne. And again, Martín will talk about the current market. It's continued to fall into this financial year. But we're well placed given that cash cost compared to others. We're at the bottom end of the cost curve, and that's exactly where you want to be when you're in this situation. Also in 2009, we witnessed our strategy of managing brine quality, which Richard started and Martín has continued on, neutron preparation and tailoring production to seasonal conditions to deliver tangible results. The 2019 March quarter delivered the highest quarterly production achieved to date, despite Olaroz experiencing the highest average rainfall. This was followed by the highest ever September quarter production, despite maintenance activity in August. So we're improving quarter on quarter. Our relationship with our joint venture partner Toyota Tsusho Corporations continued to flourish. In December 18, 3 new pivotal agreements were signed: a new shareholders agreement, a sales and marketing agreement, and the Orocobre management agreement for the management of the Olaroz joint venture. The new shareholders agreement formalises the changes in the joint venture that allowed Orocobre to consolidate the earnings of Olaroz and hopefully make our accounts going forward a little bit more understandable. The joint sales and marketing agreement facilitated both companies to set the strategic direction of customer arrangements, commercial terms, and an agreed sales strategy, and ties production and sales and marketing close together. The new management agreement for the management of Olaroz sees Orocobre paid a management fee of 1.5% of gross revenue, so it provides a valuable income source out of the joint venture into Orocobre. In April, Orocobre, 2TC and their respective joint venture boards gave approval to the Naraha Lithium Hydroxide project. Martín will go into more detail about this in his presentation. Stage 2 expansion has continued to progress over the last 12 months, with the company announcing in late November that final investment decision had been approved, with the finance facility then being finalised in August 2019. As at 30 September, we'd spent approximately 62 million on the Stage 2 expansion, with the construction of new evaporation and harvest ponds, a secondary liming plant, new production wells, new medical centre, and new facilities for the expanded workforce. The Stage 1 pond system covered 4.5 square kilometres. Stage 2 will be 13 square kilometres. Since assuming the role as CEO, Martín has focused our operations on safety, productivity and quality as a mantra. Special attention has been directed towards improving the concentration of the lithium in our brine, and again Martín will talk in a lot more detail about that later. On growth, we have the groundbreaking ceremony on the lithium hydroxide plant, so that is being built. We have a 75% economic interest in that plant, and commissioning is expected in the first half of 2021. This is the first of its kind of plant built in Japan. Sale of lithium hydroxide will be managed by TTC as the exclusive agent under our marketing agreement, with the majority of production expected to be delivered to the Japanese battery industry. There's already one manufacturing plant in the vicinity, and we anticipate construction of others in due course. Veolia are undertaking the project's engineering, and a company recognised as a technology supplier and construction manager of such good projects. This gives us great product diversification. We're in a period where battery technologies and which battery technology will proceed requires us to have that optionality in our product, and it gives us that diversification. And finally, just to mention that in that year, Advantage Lithium, the company we have 35% of, but are also a joint venture partner with, has advanced its Cauchari joint venture significantly, and is due to release the detail of its pre-feasibility study in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to talk about sustainability though, not just about numbers and production, because this is the subject that will enable us to be where we want to be for the next 40, 50, 60, 100 years. In March this year, we released our second sustainability report. As a young company, we've much to learn, and we set ourselves ambitious targets, and sometimes we don't achieve those targets, but we don't shy away from that, because if you don't set the targets, you'll never achieve them. But each year we grow in terms of our management of the environmental, social and governance aspects of the Olaroz asset. Our shared value program extends well beyond philanthropy and social responsibility, as it seeks to deliver sustained long-term value to both the local communities and through that our operations. A large percentage of the workforce comes from the local communities. 10 years ago, they were harvesting salt and farming llamas. This is a significant achievement. We have 5 programs that we focus on: education, empowerment, transparency, natural resources, and production and health. Martin has continued our sustainability focus with great enthusiasm. Our commitment to enhancing sustainability performance across all aspects of the business is highlighted by the recent appointment of a Chief Sustainability Officer to the executive team. We're a signatory to the United Nations Global Compact and a member of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development in Argentina. This emphasises our commitment to the various goals and practices of these bodies. In September, we were again included in the Dow Jones Sustainability Indices. Increasingly, investors are not investing in companies if they do not have this sort of sustainability pedigree. It's an objective platform through which both Orocobre and our shareholders can monitor, evaluate and benchmark our sustainability performance year on year. It's real. I don't want people to think this is greenwashing. It is absolutely real and important to you as shareholders that we do this work. To be included in the index, really following the first 2 years of our commercial production, is quite an achievement. I don't want to name other companies, but just go and have a look at other young fledgling resources companies. And you won't find this with many of them. This is an AGM, and so it beholds me to talk about remuneration. There's a lot of conversation in the newspapers about remuneration. We continue to take our market-based approach, reflecting the unique characteristics of Orocobre and its widely diverse geographical management team, but also operations. This is a very complicated company upon which we make great demands of our management team. We've made some changes this year to the structure of our incentives to recognise the significant increase in size and complexity of our business through growth projects. We're effectively endeavouring to double the size of this organisation in 2 to 3 years and introduce a completely new stream of product. Changes are focused on the non-fixed component of remuneration packages though, so that returns to management are therefore substantially dependent on performance and in that way aligned to shareholder performance. In January, we welcomed Martín to the board as Managing Director after a smooth transition from Martin to Richard. I don't want you to interpret the fact that Richard's right over there and Martin's here that there's any problem. At the same time, Richard commenced as a non-executive director of the board. It's rare for someone to do this, and I think I spoke to a number of shareholders through the course of the year when we did this. And it is rare for the managing director to go on as a non-executive director, so I just want to explain why. This asset was the first of its type built in 20 years. Knowledge about this asset, its production processes, how it operates in that environment, it's literally, the experience is like hen's teeth. And the other 3 major producers of brine have agreements with their people that they can't work for anyone else for a period following their employment there. So when you look at all that, the experience that was sitting with Richard, I don't use this word very often, is unique. That's why we did it, but we also did it because it takes an exceptional sort of person to be managing director one day and non-executive director the next. We did send him away on holiday for 3 months. But he's managed the transition very well, and I expected him to. So this has been, I hope I make good decisions as a chairman more often than I make bad decisions. This is one of my better ones. I'll now ask Martin to move forward and talk about the business. Martin, thank you.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you everybody for joining us in the AGM meeting for Orocobre. The objective is to give you a quick idea of our operational performance during the year and what we are seeing, and get into some more details about the things that Rob has been discussing. As a business snapshot, we had completed a September quarter with very good production results in terms of production of lithium carbonate from our plant. Was better than what we had in other comparable quarters. However, we already highlighted, Rob mentioned it, we've been seeing a slide in price that continues to happen in the market. We're seeing some operations shutting down the facilities, we're putting them on due maintenance, and nonetheless, we have announced for this quarter a price range of $6,200 to $6,500, which we expect at this point to come in the low end of that range, and continue to monitor the price because as of today, supply and demand are not perfectly balanced, as Rob was mentioning. In terms of the production expectation for the year, we continue to maintain a reasonable production growth, somehow in line with the slow market growth. So we don't want to grow significantly production, and we maintain our 5% growth objective as compared to the previous year. When you look at the results for fiscal year 2019, what you see is a company that still profitable in a low price environment, making $50 million plus of EBITDA, and with a very strong balance sheet, which is what it takes to get through a very difficult market environment as we are seeing. The cash position at corporate level as of end of September 2019 was $223.5 million. I think it is important to take a quick view at what the strategy is. And the way we see Orocobre is as a world-class supplier of lithium chemicals. There are two words in that definition that are very important. One is world-class, the other one is chemicals. This is more of a chemical operation. When you look at what we actually do, we pump brine from the salt flats, and then we get into a very complex chemical process that takes place at 4,000 meters height, with all the difficulties and complications of running it. The other important thing is that we want to be a world-class supplier. Being a world-class supplier requires a tremendous quality. We are in a significant fight in difficult markets for quality improvements. And the customers require more and more quality over time, and we have to be up to that level of challenge that our customers are imposing. As such, the strategy is integrated by three key cornerstones, and those are safety, quality, and productivity, which is what it takes to become a world-class supplier of lithium chemicals. Safety is our number one objective, most than anything, because we are committed with the well-being of all our employees. Operating at 4,000 meter height is you face a significant issue if you have an accident up there. So safety is the number one objective for the company. It is also the first point at which the team engages with the process, because you engage with the process on a personal level. How would you be affected by the process, and how your well-being is affected by the process? And based on that, on a good safety culture, you can create a good quality culture. This is the second level of engagement with the process. How well do we understand the process? How well do we manage the process to get the highest quality from our products? The third level of engagement is productivity, which comes when safety and quality are there, and you're able to improve your process continuously. That continuous improvement of the process will not only lead to better production results, but also lower costs, higher customer satisfaction, and better shareholder return, which is the objective that we have. These three cornerstones are the key of our strategy, and we are maintaining the same initiatives that Orocobre had in the last few years. Number one is improving production from stage one. That means reaching higher quality levels, and that means reducing the costs. Number two objective is completing the expansion project on which we're working since about a year ago, and we have made significant progress in the construction of the ponds. Rob mentioned about the Naraha plant that we are building in Japan. It's the first lithium hydroxide plant being put together in Japan, which is expected to supply the growing demand of electric vehicles in Northern Asia. Also, as a key objective, maintaining a focus on the better development of the resources and basin management is very important for a company like ours that relies on a very good quality asset, that is the Olaroz basin, has high concentration of lithium for the work, and where we are seeing good production rates from the wells. We're continuing to understand and develop this basin better in order to take the largest possible advantage of the value of the resources we have. When we talk about priorities for our stage one, which is operation, as said before, safety is number one objective that we have. But in terms of quality, we have significantly improved over the last 2 years in quality performance. As a matter of an example, I can tell you that customers were requiring about 2 years ago 1.5 parts per million of magnetic particles in the lithium carbonate we are producing. The quality requirement today is about 0.3, so it's a 5 times improvement in quality required, and our team was able to make that growth in performance and achieve the new quality. So we are producing a very good quality product that is meeting our growing customer needs, and it's enabling us to continue to participate in a market that where quality has become the largest and most important requirement. In terms of productivity, understanding of the process has enabled us to make significant improvements in terms of reagent uses, recovery of lithium in the process, and cost reduction. And that is the objective that we are working focused today. Cost reduction, we announced a cost in the last September quarter of almost $4,900 per ton, which is very high. And that cost has to come down in line with the pressure that we are seeing from the price. Brine concentration, as Rob mentioned, it has started about 2 years ago, a whole revamping of the ponds management process, and we continued on that process. And what we are seeing is that the good productions of the last 2 quarters are underpinned by a better management of the ponds. And we are seeing that in spite of facing lower evaporation rates, the brine concentration in our ponds is starting to stabilize, and that enables us to achieve better production rates. In terms of product, also on the brine concentration area, the fact that we started to build the ponds for stage 2 in advance is enabling us to better develop to better concentrate the brine in the ponds, since we're enjoying a higher evaporation area, and that enabled us to complete the harvesting of the harvestable ponds during last year. In terms of product development, we are developing a whole variety of new products for some specialized customers that have certain requirements of low sulfate or lower calcium or lower magnesium products that are being developed to meet their needs. All in all, it's a significant improvement continuing with the initiatives that have been set in Orocobre for the last few years. In terms of the expansion project, you all know the design capacity of the expansion project is about 25,000 tons of lithium carbonate. This project will only produce primary grade lithium carbonate, will not have a purification circuit, and that should enable us to achieve even lower production costs in the lithium carbonate produced from stage 2. The commissioning of the project is expected towards the end of the first half of 2021. Total project costs of about $295 million, including a $25 million contingency and not including working capital or VAT investments. The operating, as said, what we expect is that once the expansion comes on stage 2 and stage 1 pulled together will enable us to achieve lower cost of production. Financing for the project has been put in place with the capital that has contributed, the cash position that the company has, and a $180 million loan secured with Mizuho Bank, guaranteed by JOGMEC, with an interest rate of 4% and 3-year grace period in principal. That loan is secured until project completion by Toyota Tsusho Corporation, and until that, while that guarantee remains in place, we are committed to keep $135 million in cash at Orocobre to back that guarantee. Going into the Naraha plant that we are building in Japan, as Rob mentioned, we hold a 75% interest in the plant. The plant will produce 10,000 tons per annum of lithium hydroxide with an operational cost of approximately $1,500 per ton. With the current premium lithium hydroxide markets, we should be able to enjoy a very good profit and maximize profit that we are getting with the lithium carbonate that is produced from our Olaroz plant. Total capital costs estimated at 9.5 billion yen, which is approximately $90 million, very well backed by a $95 million facility to finance the project in debt and equity that has already been contributed. The other important thing of this project, the project is being developed in Naraha, close to the Fukushima area, and the Japanese government has awarded us a $27 million subsidy on the capital expenditures that make the project very interesting. The constructor is Veolia Water Solutions. It's a very well-known engineering and construction company with experience in building similar plants around the world. Important to mention that a cathode manufacturing plant from Sumitomo that will use this lithium hydroxide is approximately 200 meters away from the facility that we are building. And the idea is that lithium hydroxide will be shifted immediately to the cathode manufacturers. Going into our other investments, Borax Argentina. Borax, what we produce is a whole variety of borates. We have refocused Borax from a commercial perspective. Borax has a competitive advantage in the southern cone, particularly facing the growing agricultural markets of Brazil and Argentina. We have that's a niche in which Borax can be competitive. Borax is a company that has been producing borates for many years. It's a very austere structure that has done a very good job in terms of reducing costs in the last few years to be able to compete with the growing international markets for borates. Borax has demonstrated that can be recognized in the southern cone market due to its quality and service level. The delivery of fertilizers to the Brazilian market is the key in this business, as well as the support of the Brazilian fruits and ceramics business, which is one of the largest in the world. The key objective with Borax has been to improve the value perceived by the customers, and in that way grow our markets and reduce the cash requirements from Orocobre to support the business of Borax. Business is doing very well, and we will continue in this direction. As a summary, fiscal year 2019 has been a good year with 12,600 tons produced, of which we expect to grow by at least 5% during the current year in spite of the difficult market conditions. It's a profitable company that is making money in the low end of the price cycle. $50 million of EBITDA and a strong balance sheet is what it takes to grow in a company through these difficult market environments. The stage 2, we have completed the financing package. We have completed the building of the ponds for stage 2, and we are finalizing the engineering process of the carbonation plant. The Naraha hydroxide plant, we already commenced construction in Japan, and this plant should start to operate in the first half of 2021, in line with the commissioning of the expansion at Olaroz. Focus is being put in operational performance of stage 1, reducing the costs, improving the quality, and our number one priority is safety in that operation. Last but not least, the existing pressure that we are seeing on lithium prices is making us focus more and more on cost reduction to ensure that we continue to be the lowest cost supplier in the industry, and we're the ones that continue to make money while others are suffering. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Just in closing, it's been, for a company that's 15 years old, it moves at a tremendous pace. So it's been another great year of achievement for this company. It's made a number of strides forward. But none of it's possible without the contribution of very many people. And there are places and times to thank all sorts of people who contribute to the success of the company, but this is a place to thank the shareholders. And thank you very much for your support, your ongoing support, your interest in the company. And we go on to bigger and better things. Thank you.